My name is John Remendino, and my project is on the issue of fossil fuels and how to combat them with a new wave of electric vehicles. So, the issue of fossil fuels, when fossil fuels are used, carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases are released, trapping heat in our atmosphere and making fossil fuels the leading cause of global warming and climate change. Coal, oil, and natural gas are all among the non-renewable fuels that provide roughly 80% of the world's energy. Extraction methods can pollute the air and water as well as impact residents, and fuel transportation from a mine or a well can pollute the air and result in major accidents and spills. How electric vehicles can help. So, electric vehicles produce no harmful carbon emissions because they don't have a normal combustion engine like the cars we're used to. The carbon footprint of today's EV batteries is 2 to 3 times lower than it was 2 years ago, and it's getting even cleaner. Manufacturers of electric vehicles are establishing standards for their battery suppliers, such as mandating suppliers to use exclusively sustainable energy sources such as solar and wind throughout manufacturing. Some pros of owning and operating an electric vehicle include, but aren't limited to, fewer greenhouse gas emissions. They're cheaper to run, and they also have lower maintenance and service costs. Since electric automobiles don't produce exhaust, they send fewer greenhouse gases into the environment than typically combustion engines, lowering your carbon footprint as a result of owning one. Electricity is also less expensive than gasoline and is less likely to change dramatically overnight. Thus, an electric automobile would cost less to fuel in the long term than a gas or a diesel engine. Paying 10 cents per kilowatt is the equivalent to driving a car that you pay less than $1 per gallon of gas. Driving an electric car saves drivers an average $700 a year in fuel expenses. Being that electric cars have fewer moving parts than typical combustion engines, they are less expensive to service and maintain as well. Some cons. So, with all these positives, there are a few downfalls to electric vehicles as well. A new automobile is not an inexpensive buy, and this is especially true for electric vehicles. The lowest electric vehicle now available in Australia is the MG ZS EV. It costs more than $40,000, which is more than double the non-electric MG ZS variant, and many electric cars cost well over $100,000. If you need gas in your car, a quick fill up can take a maximum of 5 minutes. You can do that before any errands you have to run or a busy weekend. But if you own an electric vehicle, you have to do some planning ahead. Some electric cars can take well over half a day to fully charge, depending on the battery's charge level and the sort of charger you're using. While electric car technology grows more common, motorists aren't seeing nearly as many charging stations as they do gas stations. So if you want to go on a long road trip, it can take double the time because you have to plan your route around the charging stations to your destination and then spend 30 minutes to nearly an hour at that station. How we can break the habits. Worry of battery running out of power before reaching their destination, which is popularly known as range anxiety. Fear of too few charging stations and long charge periods and initial higher upfront car prices are the most prevalent reasons people avoid buying an EV. There are also people like myself that are car enthusiasts that like working on cars, they find a passion in them, and they refuse to get behind the new EV phenomenon. Many car manufacturers have made promises, though, to produce mainly electric vehicles by 2040. While this is a big commitment that may or may not happen, it could have a chance to make EVs more mainstream. So, in conclusion, fossil fuels are a main contributor to climate change and greenhouse gases. A good way to combat this would be the use of electric vehicles. And electric vehicles have fewer emissions than regular cars, they're cheaper to run, and they have lower maintenance costs. On the opposite side of that, they have a higher upfront cost, they take longer to charge compared to gas fill-ups, and there are fewer charging stations. The more mainstream electric vehicles become, the more efficient they will become. And these are my citations. Thank you.